I think I've realised where the slightly heavier feel comes from, and I think that is just because it's got a higher centre of gravity, which, you know, stating the obvious big time here, a lot of this is, it's a bigger lump between your legs, and I suppose that's where it feels a little bit more heavy. I think in reality there ain't a lot in it, you know, 10-15 kilogram maybe. Rear suspension's firmer than Smelly. Front a little firmer, not much in it on the front. Oh, it's a bit of a guesstimate for me, and yes, I did eat all the pies. I reckon, I think about an hour in the saddle, maybe a bit more before it'd start to hurt. And again, it's fairly new, so maybe it'll soften a little, but it's certainly better than a Bonneville of, well, let me think, the 2012 model, and one or two a bit newer than that I've had a sit on, and the 2012 model I did have quite a look at that, because it was a potential purchase. Well, not that one, but one of that ilk. And oh no, slab as soon as you sat on it was awful. 6-speed box instead of 5, so we'll be trying to see how low it will pull top gear. My goal is 30, but with a 6-speed box that's unlikely, I think. At least you get a centre stand with this, and you don't with the higher bike I've had, because of Webley's little bump. That's a Honda 500X, and you don't get a centre stand. Red line is at 7.5 thou. That's about 2 thou more than Smelly. It's smooth. There's a slight bit of vibe, just a very slight bit of vibe through the bars. It's absolutely hardly anything. No adjustment on the front forks. I dare say there's something on the back. I haven't looked at them that closely with the spec. 6th gear, 30 mile an hour. And it will accelerate pretty well from 30. Not a rocket ship, but it will do it. That is awesome. In fact, I would also say it will do less than 30 in top, but then it'll probably not like that. So yeah, stick it in top, 30 mile an hour or more, and general riding, just leave it. Coming to a 40, we went uphill, we're doing 30. 40, look at that, that is torquey, man, that is torquey. Gearbox is nice, positive, fairly light to use. Look at that, 40 mile an hour, we're doing 2,500 RPM. Thanks, pal. Just pull out. Right, here's a test, although I think we've already proved it. Right, we're in top, we're doing 40 now, we're going to go up here and see how she pulls up this climb once we get into the 50. Into the 50. I only took it up to 3,000, there's a bit of throttle. We're doing 49. Yeah, there's no problem there at all. We'd accelerate all the way up, no problem at all. That's 4th. Oh, that's beautiful. Top gear, 70, well, 4.5 thou, call it that, just under. Of course, you're quite upright, so it's pushing on my chest a little bit, just the type of bike it is. I don't know, would this crack the ton? Yeah. It's certainly got the mid-range and bottom end. It's got a mid-range is lovely, which probably means it peters out a bit more at the top. Of course, that does mean that all the torque you want is where you really need it, really. But would it crack a ton? I don't know. I think it'll get close. I think the word is nimble. That will do, nimble. It's certainly very easy to get used to. Very relaxing bike to ride. In a way, it makes you idle because you don't have to change gear. Not much anyway. If you're looking for a retro style bike that's got a bit more oomph than your Bullet, your 535 GT, I won't say the MLA because it's a completely different bike. If you want something a little more, as far as I know the suspension setup's the same, but if you want something with a little more of a sporty riding position, then go for the GT. If you want something a little bit more, well, comfortable I suppose in general, perhaps less wristy, go for the Interceptor. And if they did enough for me, I'd go for the Interceptor. Mirrors are good, no vibes through those. Right then folks, what do you think? Rather smart looking, aren't they? And quite compact really, but yet roomy. A bit weird in a way. It's just really good job really, that's what it is. Just well thought out it seems. Of course it's early days yet, I don't know how many people have done more than say, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 miles on them. But this one seems fine with, what was it, 1,700 miles on it? Seems fine indeed. Smart looking. Really nice badges. Does need louder exhaust on, but they're not bad. Not bad. So there's the seat, a little firm for me. The clock's there. Again, no parking light position on the ignition switch. What is nice, the transfers are nicely lacquered in, and you don't get that on a lot of bikes. Not at this price anyway. Now I was going to talk about the pillion seat and the space available really, but trouble was the already iffy sound quality on this video decided to give up the ghost altogether. Now I did have a little sit on the pillion area of the seat, and in short it is just that, a little bit short. So let's say it would be cosy unless you were really skinny, the both of you. As you can see here, she handles quite well. She's no Panigale, of course, but doesn't pretend to be. In its class of modern retro, it's a nimble machine, handles quite well. Although, maybe due to the slightly less weight, my Continental GT 535 Smelly would outdo her in the corners, I think. That said, I wouldn't get anywhere near her on the straight. I think really it's the slightly less weight of the Continental GT that helps out in this respect. Overall, it's a great bike. It's a great bike if you look at the price. If you put the price to one side, it's still a great bike. And I would recommend you at least try one if you're after a modern retro. I'm not really. I wouldn't call the singles modern retros. They're more like an older bike with a few modern bits thrown at them, if you like. They're better than that, but they're like a little bit more old-fashioned, and it's more my cup of tea.